Vasudam Devam Kamsachanurmardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu Mahavidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. I think it's somebody on the door.
No, that's Daddy.
Because there was a beep here. Okay. So we did till, we are on chapter 3rd, Karma Yoga, and we did till 30th shlok. Which 30th shlok was the main, he summarized the whole Karma Yoga in one shlok, that was Mayi Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Atma Chetasa Nirashi Nirmamo Bhutva Yudhyastva Vigata Jora. So that was the shlok that he summarized everything. What was it? That surrender all your work to me, which is God. And then he said that with spiritual attitude, that is an Adhyatma Chetasa. Then Nirashi is without desire. Nirmamo means without attachment. Do the yudh bhutva, yudhyasva. Yudhya means do the fight, because he is talking to Arjun. And then vigata jara, without any agitation. Jwara means fever. In Sanskrit, jwara is, in English is fever, but he says vigata jara, without any fever, without any agitation, because when fever comes, we are agitated, right? Our body is agitated. So he's saying do this karma without any agitation. So here he mentioned that what happened is, the first thing that he mentioned is, you remember we talked about it, that how in this one shlok there is all yogas together, like bhakti yoga is in it, karma yoga is in it, and also jnana yoga is in it. So if you say surrender everything to me, that's bhakti, right? When we surrender anything to God, that's our bhakti, that is our devotion. So then it says that sanyasya adhyatma chetasa. That is, adhyatma means spiritual attitude. So have that mindset of spiritual attitude, and then surrender it to me. Then without desire and without attachment, that is what? Karma yoga, right? Do all the work without attachment, without any desire, that's karma yoga, right? And then live the life. So live the life means do the fight for Arjun, right? So he put all these 3 yoga that we talk about in Gita all together in this shlok. And then he says main thing he's is forcing as adhyatma chetasa, means spiritual attitude. And for spiritual attitude, what it could be for us, right? We worship of God, right? Spiritual attitude could be like service to others, right? As we always talk about it, right? Service to others is a worship to God. So when we do only without that attitude, it's karma. And then the result is karma phala. Karma phala means the results, right? But when we do with karma yoga, it becomes worship to God. And then when the fall becomes prasad. What was prasad? Anybody remember what was prasad?
Offering to God. Like the offering to God.
offering to God, right? So when we do karma yoga, then the system becomes this, right? Worship of God and then prasad. And you remember what we discussed, what happens when we offer food to God, right? When, every time we eat something, we offer it to God. So when we offer it to God, what do we think about in the mind, right? Then we offer it to God. God eats very little, or he eats nothing. Come, Svara. Have a seat. So God is always diving most of the time. So he doesn't eat much out of the plate. It comes to us, right? We all eat it as prasad. And then we don't think about whether we're going to like it or not, right? You remember we gave an example. If Sunny doesn't like grapes, and if the prasad is grapes, and I offer him and I will say this is prasad, what will he do?
Eat it.
He will eat it. It doesn't matter if it is he likes grapes or not, right? It's not that he will say, no, Sonal auntie, I don't eat grapes, so I will not take this prasad. He will take it. He will eat whatever he is. That's what happened here also. When we do all the karma with worship of God is the action, and this is result. Then the result become prasad, because anything that comes out of that action, then it becomes however it is. That becomes the result we have to live with, right? So that's how it comes. So when the karma yoga is, all the definition is right here. So this is the spiritual attitude that he's talking in this shloka. Right? Surrender it to God, right? And then you go with that. Now, if you look at it, when we talk about that, in a couple shlokas earlier, we said nature does everything. You remember? We talk about Prakriti does everything, right? What is Prakriti?
Nature.
That built us, right? So it does everything, and there is nothing that we could do. And it is so true. Even if you look at scientifically, like, right? If I say that, okay, this is your body, now forget about anybody else doing anything. You take care of your body. Okay, I will say, okay, I give you 1 minute to take care of your body. Make sure all enzymes are released on time. Make sure your eye blinks on time. Make sure you breathe on time. Make sure that your stomach is digesting all the food on time. The blood is going from heart to legs to your brain. Your brain is working all the time. Everything you have to manage it. Would you be able to manage it?
No.
It will be 1 second that body will break down, right? So it's nothing that you can manage, right? If I say go and, if like, how cops stops when you are driving too fast and say, where is the car's paper? Give me the car's paper, your insurance and everything, and license and everything. So if I ask you, do you have your papers of your body? That it is your body? Prove me that it's your body. Would you have that? You don't have it, because it's not yours, right? It's not yours. So you don't have anything to prove that this is my body and I can maintain it by myself. It's never going to happen. So you don't have your own body. That's what it is like when Prakriti does everything. So Prakriti runs this blood. Prakriti does everything in your body. It blinks it, whatever you need. When you grow up, the body is growing up. I will ask you that, make sure you are like 5'11". Would you be? No, right? It's not going to, nature going to do that for you, right? So there's very little control on us, what we could do, right? Everything else is done by, I will say, okay, before you get born, remember, you choose your own parents. Could you do that? You cannot do that either, right? So there is nothing in our hand if you look at it, right? So everything is done by Prakriti. Everything is done by nature. You cannot do anything. So what it is saying that whatever you do, only the action, that's where your wishes, your desires, your everything comes in control too, right? What action you take, right? So this is the only little bit part that you decide. Everything else is already decided. And I will tell you in further that this is already decided. Like, you born with your nature. right? How you are born with the Prakriti, right? The Prakriti has 3 gunas. Now you can say which gunas are there. You can say what are the 3 gunas? Rajasic, Tamasic, and Sattvic, right? So you are already born with these 3 gunas, right? It could be that I might be more Tamasic, I'm more lazy, right? So no matter what you're going to do it, this is what my nature is. I'm going to be lazy for a little bit, right? Little things. If I'm more Rajasic, what's going to happen is I will be more active, but I will think about myself only. I will not think about anybody else. I would say, oh, okay, I'm more Rajasic, means I need to think if this work will help me or not. And if it does, I will do it with a lot of passion, and I have agreed, so I will do that, right? And if I have Sattvic, then I am serene, calm, I'm surrendering things to others, I'm thinking about other people and all these things. So then it becomes a little bit, I am born with that, right? That also you don't have control on, right? So think about it, that how little we have control on, and we think that everything we do, right? Remember, the Prakriti is the doer, and people who cannot get that knowledge, all their life they keep thinking that I am the one who does everything, where you have very little things that you could do. Everything is given it to you, right? So that's what it is. And then, so where should somebody will start, right? It says, first he said, surrender all the work to me. Surrender all actions to me, right? Then he says, with spiritual attitude. Then he says, without attachment and without desire. And without desire, do the action, which is the fight for Arjun. Do action, and then he says, without how should I write? Okay. Without agitation. Too many things I said in this, right? But my question would be, where to start with? What should I do? Should I surrender all my action to the God first? Should I have the spiritual attitude? Should I leave the attachment? Should I leave the desire? Should I do action first, or without agitation? Where to start with, right? So the biggest thing we need to remember is we have to start here. Otherwise, nothing will come. Until we don't start with the spiritual attitude, you will not be able to do this. You will never able to do this. You will never able to do this, and you will never able to do this. So we have to have a starting point of devotion to God. Until that doesn't come, the faith, the Shraddha, and the scriptures and all these things doesn't come, then we are not able to do any of these, right? So that's the shlok number 30 that we went through last time. And this gives the whole, summary of the whole Karma Yoga. Let's start with verse 31. Okay. Ansh, you gonna read it? It's gonna be 158. Everybody got it? 158. Okay.
Actually, I don't want to read it.
You don't wanna? Okay, next time practice it and then do it. Okay, you want to read it? Yeah, go ahead.
Ye me matam idam nityam
Ye me matam idam nityam
anutishtanti
anutishtanti manava
manava shraddhavanto
shraddhavanto nasuyanto
musyante tepi karmabhi
muchyante tepi karmabhi. Together. ye me matam idam nityam nanu tishtanti manava shraddhavanto nasuyanto muchyante tepi karmavid. Beautiful. You sing it so well. Amazing. Very nice. Very, very nice. Okay. So in this what he says that those people who practice this teaching, which teaching? Which teaching he's talking about? The teaching that he taught in summarized in slok number 30. So he's continually telling that. So those people who practice the teaching of mine, like my view, matam idam. Matam means my opinion, right? So those people who practice the teaching of my opinion of mine with faith. Shraddha is faith, right? So Shraddhavantu nasuyantu. Without suyantu means without criticism, right? So people who practice the teaching or that my opinion, what my opinion is, with Shraddha and without criticism, they are liberated from the action and effect of the action, right? Always we keep on talking about, because it's an action yoga. Karma yoga means action yoga, right? We're gonna keep talking about action, right? So they are liberated from action and results of actions. Wherever there is action, there is always results of action. It goes hand in hand. So remember, this is we are most worried about all our life, right? We do the action, but we are always worried about what's going to be the result, right? We give the paper, the first worry comes like what's going to be the result of it, right? We study hard so much, what job I'm going to get, right? What will be the result of this studying? What will be the result of I played so hard, I practiced so hard? What will be the result of the game, right? We keep on worrying about this a lot, right? Which we studied that we don't have a control on this. What we have control is only this. And on this also, we will figure it out that we only have a little bit control. We don't have much control on this either. So let's talk about this one. So what he's saying that the things that I'm teaching you, I taught you in the previous chapter, in the previous shlok, like you surrender yourself to God, have a spiritual attitude without desire, without attachment, do the work without agitation. So the teaching that's my view, you follow that with Shraddha. So people who follow with Shraddha, now Shraddha means faith, right? So faith, that's very important in spiritual life or in anything. Shraddha is very important, right? So what happens is, if there is an amount of Shraddha, then you will follow it, right? Otherwise you will not even do anything without Shraddha. So if you what happens is when we study these spiritual things, right, the result doesn't come overnight. It takes a long time for results to come. It doesn't come like if I am teaching, if we are studying Gita right now, tomorrow I will change and become such a spiritual person. It's never going to happen, right? It's going to take so long. I study today, exam is tomorrow, probably day after tomorrow I will get the result. That is too quick, right? This study that we are doing in this class, it's going to take time because there is a lot of things we came with, right? So it's not going to be like tomorrow I will get the result. So we have to be very patient all these time. So then it's going to take time. And the other thing is going to come internally. Nobody can see out of cover that you have changed your attitude or something is changing in you. Nobody can see it, right? Your nose, eyes, ears, your body will look same. It's not going to change, right? But what's going to happen is your internally, your mindset will keep changing. Your mental makeup will keep changing, right? And nobody will get it. So the movement is very slow, right? Repetition of the same thing, and then slowly you're going to change this much, right? Even if you change this much is a lot, right? So if you change this much, like if I stop worrying about a result of the action, that's an improvement, but it's not going to happen overnight because you have your own tendencies. It's not going to change overnight, right? So it's going to take a lot of time for the change, right? So what happens is when it's taking so long for you to change, then what happens is, if you don't have Shraddha, what's going to happen? Two things will happen. Either you will stop, right? You will not even, you will start, first of all, you will not even start, right? The second of all, you start and you will drop off, right? We saw so many kids started in this class, but they dropped off, right? Because they did not believe in the studies that we are doing, or they had more priorities, right? So we have to think about that. If we continuously do these studies, then it will be impact, but very rare. So constantly, he said, nityam. You have to do it constantly. You cannot do it one day and say, I'm not going to do it for 10 more days, and then 11th day you will come back and say, oh, okay, let me do it, and then I will stop doing it. It's not going to work, right? Even though it's such an important thing in our life, but we will, if we don't do it, it's not going to help you guys. So Shraddha is very important, because what's going to happen is you will say, okay, Krishna Bhagavan, I don't know if it is right or wrong, right? But Krishna Bhagavan taught this, there might be something good in it. Believing that, we study it, right? We don't know right now, whether it is right or not, right? We all don't know until we don't experience inside us, right? If inside us, experience will not come right now. It's going to take a long time, right? Until that time, we have to keep studying, and you will say, oh my God, I don't know if I'm doing it right. And that question will come, and that question will be attacked by what? Faith. Right? If you will have faith in God, and if you will have faith in what Krishna Bhagavan taught, so many people learn out of it and they all vouch on it, there might be something good. Right? So let me study, let me work on it, let me see that there might be some change that's going to come, and that might help me live my life. So live my life in the better way. Right? So until that Shraddha doesn't come, this studies will not work. That's why God says that you have to have Shraddha in it. Very important part. Now, another thing is that, the definition of faith. Can anybody tell me what would be the definition of faith?
Believing.
Yes.
Believing in yourself.
Believing in yourself, what you're doing. Believing in something that you don't even know. Right? That's what until you get to know that what you believe, what you believe in is right. Right? Faith is always, you don't even know about that. That's the faith. So the definition is a belief in a thing which I do not know about until I came to know what I believe in. Right? So that's the definition of faith. Rabindranath Tagore, who was a really big poet in Indian history, he actually said, faith is the bird that feels the light and sings when the dawn is still dark. So bird already know that dawn is still dark, but the bird can feel that the darkness is going away, and she starts singing. So you don't even know where it is, but you believe that whatever is coming is going to come right. So that faith you have to have in the scriptures and what you are studying. If you have the faith, then it will impact you. If you don't have a faith, then you will. We did 1 year of classes till now, but even if I make you study 10 years, then also it's not going to work if you don't have a faith in this, right? So that's what God says. So first faith. Then he talk about the people who don't criticize, right? That's important too, right? Now, it's very easy. It's a human default nature that we enjoy criticism of other people. We do know that there is so much fault in us, but we don't look at that. But if the other person has a fault, we see it very easily because our eyes looks at other people. They don't look inside us. We don't open our third eye to look inside us, right? So we have a lot of faults, but it will be very easy for us to see fault in somebody else. And in religion, it's very easy because what's going to happen is we have to prove ourselves that our religion is right. We don't have, we only have faith. We don't have we don't have the proof that, okay, this is right? We don't prove, like all these scientifically, we don't agree to all these miracles, right? Scientifically, we cannot prove that there are miracles that happens and God is there and God looks like this and God is like, we don't have proof for that, right? So we just have to talk about the faith. And it's very easy to destroy somebody else's faith saying that it's not true, right? So how, when you are growing up, you believe in Jesus Christ and you said, oh, Saturday, on Christmas Day, he comes from the chimney, he comes out, kids bake cookies, put milk there. That's their faith. How easily that faith is being broken when you grow up, right? It is, right? So that's the same thing religion happens. So it's very easy to criticize when we don't have the proof of it. So it's very easy to criticize anything that we talk in name of religion, right? So I tell you this teaching that Krishna Bhagavan taught you, somebody will say it's all wrong. He's actually, talking about go and fight other people. That's not what he's talking about, right? He's talking about how to live life. Life is a battle that you guys have to face. So he's not talking about go fight the battles or go fight with other people. He's talking about how to live life because you are going to be in the middle of the fight. So then, so criticism is always, find faults in others, and that's the default nature of human. So we have to make sure that we don't fall into it, right? It's very easy to say your religion is wrong and my religion is right, or your religion is bad. Every religion takes you to the same path. If you go deeper in all the religion, it has the exact same teaching. When you will be so surprised. In Christianity, it teaches the same, forgiveness, love of God. Christianity is big on love of God, where Hinduism has a whole thing, bhakti yoga, that's love to God, right? So it's exactly the same thing. Even if you go to the Islam, it's all love of God, and they have the Nirguna Brahman, right? It's the exactly same as ours, Brahman that we talk about. So Krishna might be running. Not yet. I got that. So then what happened is when we focus on somebody's fault, our mind dwell on it so much that those faults come in us. So when we start dwelling on somebody's fault, that is very bad to our mental makeup. Why? Because when we dwell so much on something, it starts coming inside us. So make sure that you pay attention to that part, that are you trying to find fault on everybody? That's where when you start trying to find fault on everybody, the practice is to see what is good in that person and then focus on that. Then that goodness come in you, right? So this is very big, teaching that I would say that you should be learning, not just, thinking about, oh, I have to remember something from Gita class, but for your life experience. I would say that biggest change you will first see is this one, that you stop finding fault in others. It automatically starts coming. You will, when you start thinking about, in a deeper way, if you think that everybody is Brahman, there is no else, this body mind is not mine, so why I'm worried about these things, right? So that's the deeper knowledge. But even superficially, you start having this sattvic thought of thinking that, if there is a fault in this person, but there is so many good things, and you start automatically focus on good things of the person. And that's going to come by itself. More and more you study this will come. And this is the first thing you're going to notice internally. That, oh my God, yeah, I'm changing. See that, I started liking everybody. I don't find anything. We were doing this practice one time, and there was an article that came. And everybody started reading that article. Our teacher gave us the article to read it and said that, okay, come and tell us good thing about it. It was a very bad written article. So everybody came up and says we couldn't find anything good. And there was nothing good. So the teacher says, no, there is nowhere in the world that somebody has nothing good in it. Like this article might have good in it, so find it out. And then we went back and he looked at it. And then, the article was 1 page long. And nothing but we said, people, when our professors so much focus on that, no, find something good in this, right? So we paid more attention and we went back and everybody found something good in that article next time. Because he said, no, you have to find something. So he pushed us to find something good in that article. And that's what it's going to come automatically. You don't have anybody to push yourself. The Gita is pushing you to find good in other people. So when you think that, oh my God, this person is not good, that's so bad person, I cannot handle this person anymore, he has so much bad things. As soon as you start focusing on his good things or her good things, you will be all fine with his bad things. It will be so smooth that, oh, okay, that's okay if that person is bad in this. So that's going to happen. So Swami Vivekananda said that weep if you find faults in other, because the moment we dwell on the faults of other, it came in our own mind. So that's, if you find fault, start crying that you are going in wrong direction. That's how you realize whether you are going on right path or not, right? So you have to find. So that's what God says, that first of all, that person who will follow the study, practice the study. So practice what? Surrendering all their work to God and taking the results as prasad. If somebody goes to that practice, then what's going to happen is, with Shraddha and no criticism, they are relieved from action and result of their action. They are liberated. Means what's going to happen is, when I explained you before too, when the person is doing karma yoga, then karma doesn't give the results that we said, a bad and good karma results. Depending on what kind of karma you do, bad and good results come, right? But when you do it for God, what's going to happen is?
Good results. Always.
Always going to be good results. So they are liberated from the law of karma. There is no law of karma there, right? If you surrender your action to God, then there is no law of karma that's going to impact you anymore, right? Anything else that I missed on this? Okay. So that's the shlok 31. Now let's go to shlok number 32. Okay. Sia, you want to continue that? Yeah. Okay. So shlok number 32.
Ye tvetadabhyasuyanto nanutishtanti me matam
Sarvajnana vimudasta
sarvajnana vibhudamstan
Vidinastana chetasa. Together.
Ye tvetadabhyasuyanto nanutishtanti me matam sarvajnana vimudamstan vidinastana chetasa.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, so in this, on contrary of the previous shlok, right? On the contrary, those who criticize at this teaching, the teaching that Krishna Bhagavan was telling, and it's not that Krishna Bhagavan is saying that what I taught, what my opinion is about the teaching, right? So he says, do not, and the person do not practice, they are deluded in all knowledge, and they know them as ruined. So what does he is trying to say? The person who doesn't follow these, they are deluded on all knowledge. Now, first of all, there are many kind of different knowledges, right? That he might be talking about, because he said all knowledges. Now, one knowledge is the serious knowledge about our real nature, right? What is our real nature? Our real nature is Brahman. We are not this body, mind, and intellect, right? So that's the biggest knowledge that we talk about all the time. But what it is, that there are other knowledges too, like what to do, what is right, what is wrong, right? There is this kind of knowledge too, philosophically knowledge, like what is right, what is wrong, are we doing right thing, are we doing wrong thing? This confusion stays with us for our whole life, right? whether we are doing this right, is this the way to do, or should we take this AP course, should we take this regular course, should I go and play this team, or should I not play this team, should I wear this dress or not this dress? How many kind of knowledges we need to have, right? So now, first of all, he said, who criticizes this teaching, this learning, right? So again, he stick to the criticize people who criticizes the dharma, right? Who says that this is not the right thing to do. Why are you going to Gita class? What is it there? What are you learning? I don't see anything. Nothing changed in you while you are going in Gita class. You are still hurting your sister so much, or you are still beating your brother so much, or you didn't change at all, right? People will say that, right? It's going to happen, but that's your human nature. It's going to come, right? So that's what you are still as bad as you were before. So stop going to Gita class. That can come across you guys, right? It's very easy. It comes all the time to me too. That what are you learning from Gita? So that's easy to happen, right? That's criticism will come. It's not. So what? Sometimes you think like what you're getting out of it, or I don't want to do good for other people, right? There is so many things that I have to do for myself. Where is the time for me to do good for others, right? Let me figure out myself first, do everything for myself, and then if I get time and money remaining, then I will do for others, right? That attitude can come too, right? It's easy. It's human attitude. It can come, right? So those are the people who we think that they are not just criticizing the learning, but they are criticizing the way of thinking also, right? So we can think about that part too. When Krishna Bhagavan is mentioning this thing, he's mentioning this part too, that hey, it could be like I don't want to. Krishna turn on. Okay, so what happened is, when those kind of people are there, then what happened is that they get deluded in all the knowledges, means they don't get the knowledge. They don't get all the knowledge there. So there are only two steps to go. So one is, either you follow the learning or you don't follow, right? So if you follow the learning, you go towards God realization. If you don't follow the learning, deluded means you go towards sansara. What is sansara means? World. In English, I would put world. You keep going towards the world, right? These are the only two things that you will be going towards. Either you go towards this, go towards this. Now when you go towards world, what happens is, then you have to have life after life. You're going to keep going in this circle, right? When you go towards world, you keep going from life after life after life, and you go through ups and downs. Right? Here, when you get to God realization, there is no further life, no further, hold on, let me do it right. No further life after life. No further ups and downs. And no further is what? One more word. No further going to sansara. And
no worldly.
Yeah,
No
no,
sadness.
but one thought came in my mind and it just went away when I was writing.
Sadness?
No, sadness, that actually comes in up and down.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, if it comes again, I will tell. Now, right now, I am not. I thought when I was writing and then I forgot about it. So then that thing happens, right? So when you go towards this, okay, yeah, I got it. No results from the, because you get liberated from the results of your actions. And here results of action keep coming. So law of karma, get impact here, right? So results of action doesn't impact here, but law of karma gonna keep impacting you life after life, and then you're gonna keep falling into this one. So there are two things. So if we keep understanding what Krishna Bhagavan is telling here and start practicing it, we get this, and if we don't, we get this, right? So these are the people that are Krishna Bhagavan is telling. He says that who criticizes, but it's not about just people who are saying bad thing, but not even practicing those things. And again, he's not saying that what I am teaching, what my opinion about life is. It is this. People who practice this opinion of the thought process, they go through this. People who don't, they go through this. Right? So that's what he is saying. Now what happens is, how the person who is in, let's stay with this person here, who goes through sansara, right? I said that Krishna Bhagavan says about all the knowledge, right? So they don't get the knowledge about whether, we are Brahman, our Atma is different, our body, mind, intellect is different. We don't think about that. That knowledge, they never get it. But on top of it, they don't get what is right and what is wrong. Dharma and adharma. Adharma means what's wrong, dharma is what's right. They don't get that part also right. So in life, what's going to happen is they're going to keep doing mistakes, and by doing that mistakes, what's going to happen is law of karma will generate pap and punya, right? So when you're going to do right and wrong, then wrong will generate bad karma, right will generate good karma. So then the karma will also continue giving you the result. And what's going to happen is, if bad karma, we did the bad karma, what's going to happen is, we will get the result, something bad will happen. Not this life, but next life or some life, or it's going to keep continue. That cycle will going to keep going around and round, right? So that's what happened. So this person stays within the limit of law of karma. This person doesn't get impacted by law of karma, right? So that's the difference. Now, what happens when this has happened? So all the action for this person is driven by what thing?
Of the sunset.
Yeah, it is driven by results, but what drives the action?
Personal
it's
gain.
going to be driven by, in Sanskrit it says rag and dvesh, likes and dislikes. All the action they do depends on their likes and dislikes. Rag is likes, dvesh is dislike. So any action that this guy will do is depending. Now this guy will not have any likes and dislike anymore, right? We talk about that, right? So this person who is in God realization, they will not think about what's like, because everything is good for them, right? This person will have likes and dislikes continue coming. Likes and dislikes. So every action that they do will drive from their likes and dislikes. Rag and dvesh. Right? So this action going to keep them trapped in sansara. Right? So that's how it goes. Now, definitely when you are trapped with your likes and dislikes, what's going to happen is the spiritual attitude will not come. Right? So then you will be like, now it's, I was talking about it last time too, that, it's very important for us to start these kind of knowledge very early on in our life. Why it is so important? Because, what happens is all the repetition of work and actions that we are doing at this time, it's going to keep coming. The behavior, the character of yours, it start building already, right? When you are born, you are a baby, you are 2-3 years old, your habits and your everything will start building according to the environment that you got and the prakriti that you got from the God already, right? The nature you are born with, you already got that. And the life that you're experiencing right now, giving you more, it's repetition of the same work. Like, some houses you go, the first thing they do is they get up and they take shower, they brush their teeth, they go to school. Some houses, they don't take shower in the morning, they take shower in the evening, because they the school, they got dirty or whatever, they come back and take shower and they sleep and they go to school. So it depends on whatever the habits are forming very early on in our life, right? So if you think about that right now, as you are, can anybody change? It's very hard to change the view of somebody after they are 13 or 14-year-old. Then their views and their mind are set, right? But when they're growing up, it's very easy to change the way you think, the way you do action and everything. So these studies are very important for us to do. Though probably these studies you might not practice or not utilize right now, but to make your behavior, your character, build it on this, it's very important to learn it at the early ages, right? So it's very important. That's why it says that when we start this learning at very early age, our character building is very easy to change and adapt this new learning. When we talk about God, like, even I would say little things like, if you get a new cloth, right? If you are going to wear this new clothes that you got it, it's no harm in going to God and just putting the cloth to God and say, God, this is the new cloth I'm going to wear, give the blessing. What is it? Nothing. But that becomes our habit now, right? Giving the new clothes. If you are wearing new jewelry, just put it in front of God and say, hey God, I'm wearing this new jewelry. So that little action keep coming when you are growing up. Now, when you are all grown up, you are set with your own behavior, you are set with your own character. It's so hard to change because you have done for ages, like 10, 15 years or 20 years or 30 years, you were doing the same way. Now, if anybody says change it, it's going to be so hard, right? So it's very good to start early on so we can change these behaviors, so we cannot get into a lot of likes and dislikes at that stage, right? So that's one thing. And then another thing I wanted to tell you, when we do worship to God, all the action when we do for worship to God, then probably we might do some things wrong going to happen, no matter what we do, right? It's not that you will be perfect in everything. Even if you do something to God, there will be something that you will do wrong. But when you surrender everything to God, God forgives you. But when you do it for yourself, when you just do karma, then if you do mistake, you're going to fall into law of karma, right? Because if you did it for God, then God will say, okay, he did it with the right reason. He thought about me. He was surrendering this work to me. And if he did some mistake happened, that's okay. I forgive him or I forgive her, right? But when you do for self-desire, then you fall into what? Law of karma. Then your action is by you. You took it. Now you have to take the consequences, the results of it, right? So these are the two things you have to think about. Now let's go to, it says that, okay, so it's so hard to change. Like right now, I would say for you guys also, still I think that it's now you are set in your own way. It's hard to change. Think about us. In last 40 years, we were doing the same way. For us to change that, it's so hard, right? But it's hard for even 13, 14-year-old kids too to change, right? So why is it so hard to change? So Krishna Bhagavan gives the reasoning in next 2 shlokas that we're going to study. So let's do this one, the 33rd, and then we will see how much time we have.
Can I start?
Yes, yes.
Sadrisham chestate swasya prakritirjnanavadapi prakritimyanti bhutani nigraham kim karishyati.
Together.
Sadrisham chestate swasya prakritirjnanavamapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyate.
Okay, very nice. And what does it say? God here says that even the person with knowledge, with have all the knowledge, even the person who is very knowledgeable, who knows this, who has studied Gita, acts according to their own nature, right? And what happened is, what can self-control do to that? So he's saying why it is so hard, right? Even the knowledgeable person, even the Brahmagyani who got enlightened, they also work according to their given nature. What does this self-control will do, right? So he's dividing the shloka in two. So he asks a question here, not ask the question, but say, you know that? Like kind of that question. So he says that even people work according to their built nature, right? Now you will see that there are many Brahmagyani, like who have all this knowledge, who are enlightened, who are our gurus, who are rishis. Like there is, even you see Ram Bhagwan and Krishna, right? They both were incarnation of Vishnu, right? But Ram Bhagwan's bhakti is differently and Krishna Bhagwan is different. Their basic nature, the prakriti is given to those two people are different. So they react differently. Like now Arjun is made up of what guna will be more in Arjun? There will be.
No.
Tamasic.
No, Rajasic.
Rajasic.
Yes, passive.
Yeah, Rajasic, right? Arjun built is what guna more? Rajasic. Now what he is saying, oh, I need to go to Himalaya, forget about this flight, I will do tapa. Would he, with the Rajasic nature, can go and do tapa and do meditation all that? He cannot, because his basic nature is what? Rajasic. He needs activity, right? He needs that passion, right? So everybody is built. That's why Krishna Bhagavan is saying that your basic nature doesn't suit what you are thinking to do. You will have so much challenges, right? So Krishna Bhagavan is saying that everybody is built with their own basic nature, right? So it's very hard to change that nature, right? So that's why it says that the person who is tamasic, it's very hard for them to say, no, every morning get up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. and do this work. They cannot, right? What's going to happen is, if I decide that since from tomorrow I'm a tamasic, tamasic person, more dominated by tamasic, and I'm like, you know what? I have to wake up early in the morning and do these things, do exercise. I'm getting, I'm gaining a lot of weight. Let me do that in the morning. I will wake up at 4, right? So this I decided at 9. But when the 4 o'clock alarm goes, what's going to happen to my mind? My body will say, okay, my mind wants to get up, but my body will say, I didn't promise you. Where was I in that decision? You didn't ask me. Right? I'm in this blanket, I don't want to get out of this blanket. You didn't take you didn't concern me, so I'm not getting up, right? That's going to happen, right? Because that's my basic nature, right? So that's going to happen, and I will not wake up no matter what it is. So how will I do anything else if I'm more tamasic nature, right? That is what. Then I'm more rajasic, then it's a different challenges, right? Sattvic, that's awesome, right? You are very close to go to the next level. But if you are in tamasic, then it's very hard for you to go to rajasic and sattvic. Or if you are rajasic, you have to jump one more ladder to go to sattvic and go up. So it's very hard. So our basic nature is given. Now, what it is that, how is our basic nature given? Let's talk about a little bit of that, because that's will give us a better. And so our basic nature is actually our tendencies that is given to us, right? We're born with our tendencies. And I think probably in previous classes I explained that. Sanskara, tendency, in Sanskrit we say sanskara. Sometimes, if you watch Hindi shows, the word is used a lot, sanskar, what is your sanskar, right? What is your tendencies, right? So sanskara are given in different ways. It's the results of our many lives, right? So one purusha, let me actually give you a word on that one. It's gonna be, if I remember it, did I let's say in Hindi we say jiva. Jiva means a living organism, a living being. So jiva. So jiva is equal to, any living nature is equal to Atman plus Atman plus tendencies. Right? Now this is Brahman, we know. Everybody has same Brahman, right? Everybody, there is one Brahman, it's in everybody, it's everything is Brahman, right? That we already know. So this doesn't change. This is constant, right? These are the one that changes. And what are these? These are made up of Prakriti. Prakriti. Right? Matter. If you say Prakriti, then
No,
it
but
comes.
like in the Gita it says.
In the Prakriti. Okay. In the Ru Matra can say as a Ru or Ri. It depends how you pronounce it. So what happens is the Prakriti is the one that we explain is, so these tendency comes over lifetimes that we are actually doing it, not just one life. We have accumulated karmas, right? From lifetime. From lifetime. There are so many karmas from many lives that we have. Right? That's there. Now what happened is, like this part and this part of our previous lives, it could not be same life, could be any lives, that is being picked to get our new life. Right? So this was the result of this life, that was like 6th life of us, and this was the result out of our 10th life. And then that came and gave us the result, and our new life starts now. Right? So the tendency that were there came in contact with Atma and got the body and mind and intellect. Right? So Prakriti gave this, so this tendency. So this is results of the past lives. Right? Also, tendency are, as I was mentioning, that when you keep doing certain things, like you are born in certain family, you keep doing certain things, that becomes your tendency too. So your experiences that you get in this life is added on to your past karma, and that makes your new tendencies. Right? You got it? So you born with some, you got some. Now sometimes people say that, oh, you know, you are very much like your mom, you are very much like your dad, right? So think about that. Randomly God is picking up our tendencies from our previous lives and then matching them to the person who is already on this earth, because we got the genes from our dad and mom, so definitely we got so much basic nature related to that, right? They pick this. I don't know what computer system God uses, but he finds the matching of our tendency in two people, and then we are born in their family, right? And then those tendencies are keep changing. Like brother and sister are never same, right? They come with different nature too. It's not always that two people in the same house are the same. Even the look-alike people who are twins, they have different nature, right? Different tendency. So this match happens, and then the tendency are developed also with the experience of your this life, right? As you grow up, the tendencies keep changing. So that's how the whole build is made. Now, nothing changes here. Nothing changes here. Atma says the same, right? Whatever you do, nothing changes here. Where does it change? It changes here. So whatever you are doing, you are not doing anything to consciousness. Right? Consciousness is not going to impact. He doesn't do anything. You remember we said it doesn't born, doesn't do anything.
It just watches.
It's just there. So this is there. Whatever you are doing today, that's the only thing is changing. This part is changing. Right? So when we say that we are same, exactly the same, everybody has the same thing. Yes. What part? This
Atma.
part. What is not same?
Tendencies.
This is what we work on, right? So this is where we are working on. We are not correcting our consciousness. There is nothing wrong in it because it doesn't do anything. What is wrong is the tendency. That's we have to work on, right? So that's why we're gonna do it. But we will continue from here and go next week with this, right? Okay. Let's close it on this one. Vasudevasutam devam Kamsachanurramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Om Krishna Arpanamastu. Thank you guys.